We're here at Beer There Drunk That, drinking beers, and we're going to talk about them. Welcome back, everybody. We're here.
Sounds like a good plan to me. I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, I'm ready to rock.
Let's do
What
this.
I guess start like what are you guys drinking right now?
It's called My Turn Sam. This is brand new from Lakefront Brewery. It's a peach lime ale.
Oh,
Um, and the My Turn series there is they just let employees of the brewery design a beer and they make it.
that's sick.
So
Honestly,
this
that's
is
such a good idea.
this is the 52nd one of them.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
So it's really cool because like they don't just like half-ass these like yeah we'll make this little rinky-dink beer. Like they send them to competitions and these beers win awards.
That's why I think that's such a cool idea.
And it's anyone who works there. Like it could be one of the bartenders, it could be the shipping guy, it could be a sales manager.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. What about y'all?
Luke, what are you drinking?
I am having the Dewey Fest beer. It's a nice little fall beer. We're in the season. Time to have some nice little fallish beers today.
I love it. Now, Luke, I do notice, yeah, you sound a little hoarse. You sound a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm a little under the weather right now.
Okay.
This moving stuff that I've been doing, it's taking a toll on me. My gout's back apparently, and so my whole body's just messed up. Which it normally is to begin with my eyes and my ears, but now it's just all falling apart.
It's just oh, you forgot the thumbs. If you were really Luke, you'd mention the
Oh
thumbs.
yeah.
So
Yeah, been
The
pop
thumbs are
dirt.
yeah.
So, folks, we have Luke is no longer with us. No, he's
All right.
For the
unable to
weekend.
be here today. Yeah, sorry, I should put that caveat there. He's no longer with us for the week. So we have our buddy Matt sitting in. You might remember him from our Sours episode, and
The
yeah,
Sour
Where I
King
did
himself.
proclaim I would be the first two-time guest on the show.
you are.
And
Well,
Yeah.
once you hit what is it? What does SNL do? 5-time guest, you get like a robe or a jacket or something like that.
I mean, I would take a robe.
Well, I think you
I
gotta hit like 5 times first or whatever SNL
That's true.
does.
I was gonna say I'll give you a Starbucks gift card, but like,
I don't drink
Half
coffee. The
used,
wife
half
does. The
used.
wife
sorry,
does. I'll give it to her.
I'll get you a gift card to AJ's Beer Warehouse. Oh wait.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
that's
too
such a
soon.
low
It was
blow.
it was so funny too because I was like when Luke called me this morning to say I was coming on, I was like, oh, I need to get different beer then. I'm like, do I really want to drive all the way out to one stop? And he's like, you could go to Beers of the World. And I was like, never will I step in that store again. Just to because I went like a couple of weeks ago and I was still disappointed. I'm like, why do I come here?
That's tough. That's a tough go.
It's tough. It was also so tough too because they were like 5 days before they closed forever. They're like, guess we're closing, and that's all.
But we've had that with a couple breweries around here now. Like there was one, they literally like 2 weeks before and had their like 7 year anniversary like block party. And they're like, oh, we're actually out of business now. That was Company
Yeah,
Brewing. And then I was at work today and there used to be a brewery across the street from my office, one of us, and actually a guy I work with was like on the board of directors. He's one of the owners. They just closed down randomly recently because someone was pointing out to a new employee. They're like, "Oh, if you look over there, you can see that warehouse looking thing. That's a brewery. Like, if you ever want to go check it out." And I'm like, "No, you can't."
That's it's just sad. Like, I don't know. I feel like you got to give people time to cope or something
Yeah, or at
yeah,
least like announce it ahead of time so that way people can go there and do what they can and
and
experience what they want.
reminisce.
Yeah.
and buy
Yeah,
all their
I
beer
agree.
supplies for cheap.
Well, did
Yeah,
it?
fuck.
I
What was
I
AJ's
was
reason for closing?
they didn't have one. They literally their Instagram post was like, it's been a great 10 years, and that was it. And I was like,
Yeah,
maybe I can buy the kegerator that I used for my wedding from them for like $200 instead of the 400 it cost me to rent it. But it was gone by the time I went there.
of
Damn.
course it was. Of course it
Someone
was.
bought it.
Yeah, you weren't really thinking about the memories. You were just looking to save a quick buck.
Oh yeah, 100%. If I can get some sweet stuff for $2, sign me up.
Oh
You're
yeah,
in.
I'm down,
You're in.
and I'm down to crack this brew open.
Yeah,
Go
I'm
for it.
gonna
Cheers.
apologize. I have one of these sweet beer koozies, and this noise is gonna be disgusting.
I'm drinking a part of my tasting beer still, not gonna
Oh
lie
yeah.
to you. So I I'll cheers in spirit.
And
But
cheers, my friends. Oh yeah,
Ooh, that's nice.
peach and lime, baby.
so Donnie, I mean, as you know, as the people know, if we listened last week, we're doing wild cards this week. So we
Yes,
kind of
we.
got a lot of range. Did you have any specific aim with these beers? Or you were like, you know what, it's a reset week for me. I'm gonna empty the fridge. I'm gonna do whatever I want to do.
So honestly, I had a plan to taste certain beers because I went to the Brewers game yesterday. As I've said before, they have a Leinenkugel's pilot uh brewery there. I completely forgot to take videos of it, but I tried both the beers. They basically made two beers that each play like that two players designed. So Colin Ray made 48 ale and Bryce Wilson made what he called the Billy Ale. And they were like dueling beers in the tap room. You know, they had like a deal where you could get both pours for X amount of dollars or whatever to try them. And so we got two of each to try. And I was gonna do one of those as my first sips just to talk about it, but forgot about it. Um, and yeah, this was kind of an emptying a beer fridge. I stopped. I hadn't thought about what was in my fridge, so when I stopped on the way home, I was like, oh, I'll just grab some random stuff. And turns out I had a couple things that were pretty poised for this video. What about you guys? You know?
Go ahead, Matt. Whatever you got.
So my thought was, um, I got texted or called by Luke this morning and was like, "Oh, I have to drink 2 beers when I get home before this, and then have one or two while on the podcast." And it's Monday night as of recording, and I don't want to get tanked on a Monday night. So it was, what can I split with my wife?
Smart though.
It's a good
So
thought process.
so I was like, well, what's my wife like? What would she like? So there was that was going into it. I also got some stuff for me. Obviously, this fest beer we're having, the wife won't enjoy, but it's a good podcast beer. So it's gonna be fruited sours again for me. I'm sorry, but different ones I've had before, and kind of a little more folly. So I'm kind of excited.
Listen, I mean, you know what you're about. I respect that. Now, does your wife enjoy sours as much as you do, or does she have a different? I forget. I think
Yes,
we discussed it, but
yes, that's her predominant go-to of what she only drinks, unless it's a nice hard cider
hmm,
or um, like a high noon. That's about
okay.
what we're looking at.
So yeah, so sours are her kind of go-to beer. I gotcha.
Hmm.
I did not have much of a plan. I went into the beer store that was by Caitlin's house. So we actually just got back from Rhode Island on yeah yesterday, whatever at some point. So I grabbed a couple beers at the Acme, the grocery store by her, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try something that looks good. So I got a couple cool looking cans in my opinion, and a couple beers that I enjoyed them. They were solid beers.
Nice. You talk about fall sours, Matt.
Hmm.
One of Sophie's parents' friends, Jerome, shout out Jerome. I think he listens to the pod now. He's a big beer guy.
Road
He's a big beer guy. Actually grew up in like Webster area.
where life's worth living.
Yeah, I think it was Webster.
Except for the schools.
But yeah, so it's like small world on that. But anyway, he gave me from Toppling Goliath, which their big beer that most people have had is Pseudo Sue. It's a IPA. It's got a dinosaur on it. But it's pretty well distributed. Either way, he handed me a beer that it was called Caramel Apple Fandango, and it was a
Oh,
caramel apple sour. And I mean, it was just like it was sweet apple flavor, and then it had this nice caramel like roundness at the bend, like back end of your mouth. It was
Hmm.
really, really good. I was very impressed by it.
that sounds nice.
Yeah.
I definitely got a dude I saw on Instagram. They had there's someone that did like Long Island breweries, all of their fall style beers, their fall inspired beers. And I think I'm gonna have to make a trip out one of these weekends and just kind of rip through all of them and then not be able to drive home.
On the Long Island Expressway.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's driven sober on the Long Island Expressway.
Oh God.
No.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean it was yeah, Matt, do you want to start us off?
yeah, I was gonna kick
I
it to
can
you,
start
man.
us off. All right, so the first thing I had was the Imprint beer, their smoothie, uh, strawberry, blueberry, cotton candy, fruited sour. And uh, if you guys, do you ever remember the like you get the tubs of cotton candy from the grocery store that's like the blue and the pink mixed together?
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's what you were drinking. It was very, very punchy, powerful, sweet cotton candy flavor. Um, as my wife said, smoochie can do no wrong, and this is another example of that. It was fantastic. Definitely a good thing I only had half a glass of that because I think I would have been done. Um, much like the other fruited sour I had, I think it was like Tiny S's. Uh, I think I would have given myself acid reflux. It was just that sweet um, tartness, uh, kind of like fistfulling Sour Patch Kids. Like I started feeling that tongue rot that you get from like the acid
You
on
get
it.
like raw
Uh,
almost.
yeah, it's like well the thing is though, I love sour candy to the point where I will make myself bleed from
Oh
eating it.
my
Oh my
God.
Like it
dude.
does not stop. I'll just
So no,
go.
no wonder the sours kind of come into play for you then.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's also the Polish in me too. I love sauerkraut. I love any tart, real tart flavors. If you guys, I don't know, remember, because this was a big thing in my like preteens, was Mountain Dew Pitch Black.
Yeah.
Mm,
Same
mm.
exact color, kind of the same taste. I loved it.
I thought wasn't pitch
I think I
black
rated
grape though?
it was sour grape. Yeah.
Sour grape, yeah.
Yeah, but it was literally that deep purple color was the color of the beer. Um,
Wow.
But yeah, very good. Definitely a one and doneer. But I rated it 4.5 out of 5. I would definitely
Oh.
come back to it. It's just it's it's just a lot. But
So
I like it.
just so it's a little bit at a time kind of beer.
Yes. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. For it's a definitely bring your friends around and each pour yourself out 4 ounces and be like, try this.
gotcha.
Okay. I've
Okay.
I've seen the smoothie stuff. I can't remember if it's at Avenue down the street for me or if it when I go to Total Wine, but I have seen the smoothie stuff and I think of it because I've seen you drinking it all the
Uh,
time, Matt.
Um, One Stop, which is now my new go-to, they literally just have a cooler, a fridge just dedicated to all the flavors they have out.
Really?
That's
And
wild.
it's tough because each can's like $8 or $9, and it's really hard to stop me from maybe spending 150 bucks because they literally have at least 10 to 12 flavors every single time.
Yeah, I'm on their website right now. They're on their website. So at their tap room right now, they have a Go Birds one. So it's I think that's pineapple, banana, coconut, and blue curacao flavored. That's
That sounds
Yeah.
crazy.
actually really good. I
They've got
kind of would want
pumpkin
to try
pie
that
a
one.
la mode, pumpkin sticky buns, blackberry
Ooh,
s'mores,
They're
something
nuts.
wow.
raspberry chocolate mousse. That's crazy. Like
Wait, I gotta
They
try. I've
are,
never had schmoozy before.
they're out of Pennsylvania, right? Imprint
yeah, I
Hatfield.
believe so.
They're like I just looked them up.
Wow.
They look like it's like a brewery arcade. It looks cool.
Yeah. Uh, No, this is Dewey. I'm sorry, not Imprint.
That sounds sick. Yeah, I definitely gotta try some
They
of those. They
had
sound good.
a tiramisu sour that I had this summer.
Oh,
That was so good.
What?
Yeah.
oh,
Damn. Well, so now, Matt, I will say, so I saw that you sent your first tips video to the podcast, so everybody else will see
Hmm.
them. They'll have seen them already when this releases. But I was watching. I was like, oh, let's see what like Matt's first beer was. So I didn't watch both of them. I watched the first one, and this was the first one. And I was eating dinner as I was kind of looking at it, and then I hear this like, oh, you gotta see this deep purple color. And I look up, and I audibly was like, oh, because it looks so unappetizing. Like it looks like honestly, it didn't look liquid. It looked like almost like you know what they spray in the walls for insulation?
Yes. Yes. Yep.
That It looked like that if it were purple and then like someone kind of misted it like just a little bit, just to make sure it had some drops of water
Like
on
when
it.
I had the strawberry pickle beer.
Yeah, it
I
was.
will say too, the beer had like a shininess to it.
That's crazy.
Well,
Like it was like just waxed on the top. I was like, this is this is something.
did
But it
you
was delicious.
see the beer I had recently, Matt? I think I posted on the podcast Instagram. Um, it was a local brewery. They opened up a tap room down the street from me, so I like rode my bike up there the other day.
Hmm.
Their version, it's called "We Just Want to Have Good Times," and it's wheat beer with orange peel and coriander. So it's like a blue moon.
Oh,
But
see,
this is
I'm
what
one
it
of those.
looks like. I can
Oh
get it
yeah, I
for
did see that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It has like elderflower pea like dye to make it blue,
That's
and then
nuts.
edible glitter in it. So you're
Interesting.
just drinking microplastics.
Perfect. No, but I thought you were gonna, as a fellow yacht rocker myself, I thought you're gonna be talking. I thought that title was gonna be some like pun off of a yacht rock album, and I was like, oh, another one. But I
Well,
want to also try that Steely Dan beer if
my
you can
cousin
find it.
is sending me some.
Oh,
My cousin is sending me some.
I also saw that Instagram uh directly tapped into my feed for me
Well,
because it
and
just knew me apparently.
yeah, it's one of those things he texted me the other day. He's like, "Hey, my buddy, like his buddy lives right next to Stoneface, which is where the beer comes from." And he's like, "I finally found some. Like, what's your address?" So, but speaking of yacht rock, the first beer I drank tonight was called Yacht Rock and Acid Bath.
Oh my God,
Nice.
that's
Hell yeah.
unreal.
It's a hazy India Pale Ale, dry hopped with lemon drop, strata, and Sabro hops. 6.5% from Youngblood Beer Co. They always have fun
Oh,
names.
Youngblood's good, yeah.
I like their stuff.
That's the one out of like
Madison,
UK Ireland, right?
Madison.
Or is that some Oh, that's I'm thinking of a different place then.
No, Madison, Madison, Wisconsin.
That's close to Ireland.
Yeah, there's a lot of Irish people there. They're the Fighting Irish, right?
Hmm. Isn't that Indiana though?
That's yeah. Illinois even. But anyway, this beer was like just it says hazy. I would call it a juicy pale ale. I mean, it was like drinking straight tropical fruits. I mean, just pineapple, orange, tangerine, a little peach, a little mango, like all those just right in it, smooth and creamy. It was amazing. But I gotta look into like like the hop characteristics because I got like that little like almost saison peppery bite at the very end there
Hmm,
um, which I kind of liked. It kept me wanting to drink more. Um, but it was really, really good. I can't say much more than like this borders on a session IPA for me, even though it's 6.5%. But just in terms of like the smooth and easy drinkingness of it, um, definitely in that like if you showed up with a six pack of these, they could end up being empty within an evening.
okay. I
That's
it's
nice.
it's funny that yours is kind of like more of a fruity IPA because I actually have something similar for my first one.
Hmm.
I audibled. I was going to show a different one, but if I can go right into mine, if that's
Of
okay.
course.
I had Fear Movie Lions FML from Stone Brewing. So they're out of I saw it somewhere. I think somewhere in Virginia.
Oh yes, I've
Okay.
had some.
Yeah, Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah.
Escondido, California, and Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, their
Um,
Mexican lager is very good.
is it?
If you can ever find Stone's Mexican lager when they put it out in the fall, it is one of the best ones.
Okay. I'll have to keep an eye out for it. Yeah, because I mean, I like this beer a lot. I thought it was pretty good. I gave it a 3.75 on Untappd. It's an 8.5% hazy double IPA. Um,
Hmm.
but Don, yeah, so it's funny that you kind of had that, I'll say, fruitiness to it because this one, so it had laurel and mosaic hops. But the flavor notes that it gave were tropical punch, berry, and peach. And so I actually enjoyed it because it was like it doesn't drink like a double IPA. Obviously, double, triple IPA, you're gonna be like, wow, that's a lot of hops. It's gonna punch you in the mouth. and it does in the nose. Like you definitely get some hops, but the fruitiness kind of rounds it out a little bit more for me, which I actually really enjoyed. Like it definitely made it pretty easy to drink as far as especially as double IPAs go. Um,
I had their Tangerine Express, which is a hazy IPA,
okay.
a while ago. Trying to think of how I liked it. Um,
Speaking of hazy IPAs, Keegan, I believed in your baseball beer tier thing.
Hmm.
You had the Southern tier, like Juice Bomb or whatever it was.
Absolutely, I did.
I've never had that
Juice Jolt.
until Juice Jolt. Thank you. I never had that until I was at a like bridal shower party thing and they had them there. And I was like, oh, I hear these are good. And I actually had one and I'm not an IPA fan, but that was delicious.
It's a
So
great beer. I think it
it
really
is so
is.
good.
Was it the 2X or the regular Juice Jolt?
I think it was just the regular.
So if you want something like, I mean, obviously the 2X a little bit stronger, but like it doesn't, in my mind, from when I drank the two at separate points, it doesn't like change it too much. Obviously, it's a little hoppier, but
Hmm.
not like an insane amount where I think it would deter people from drinking it if they like the regular Juice Jolt.
well, and that's what I say about the Imperial Pistachio Cream Ale from Indeed. It's like pistachio cream ale is really, really good. And then if you just want to get a little more drunk off of it, you get the Imperial because they only
That's the
sell
best.
in the 19.2 fluid ounce cans. 19.2 fluid ounces, yeah.
There you
Yeah,
go.
2.2
The tall,
fluid
skinny
ounces.
ones, tall and tippy, as they call them.
Tall and tippy. Is that a packaging term, tall and tippy?
It's a manufacturing term. We had that. We
Oh,
have that at work for one of our sizes of product. Whenever I go over to the manufacturing plant to talk to them, like, "Oh, how's it running?" They're like, "Well, it's tall and tippy,"
there
and
you
I'm
go.
like, "Yeah, it's not my fault. I do what
Now,
they tell me to."
if you put some beer in it though, then you're solving the world's problems.
I've been trying to get them to just start making beer at work.
I mean, they have the production capacity for it, right?
Right.
So
We just got rid of one of our lines. Um, Sold it back to the original company. But no, speaking of making beer at work, did I ever tell you guys the story where it was actually Caitlin and I's old director? So when Caitlin and I worked for the same company back to back for
uh-huh.
internships,
Yep.
um, our old director there, Keith, you can tell her about this about Keith if she doesn't know. When he worked for a shampoo company as a packaging engineer, and they laid off like half of their staff in the building, and then like 2 months later laid off like the other half or like another half of that. So they were down to like 25% building capacity very
Okay.
quickly.
Yeah.
And there was just like not a lot of work to do at the time. So they were brewing beer in the labs and then putting it in shampoo bottles to drink while they were at work.
That is unreal. Wait,
And
I like to think of them leaving like the pumps in it. So they just kind of had the pump shampoo on their desk and just leaned down and
Oh,
pumped.
no, he said they would like
nice. And
squeeze, they had the squeeze bottles, they squirt it in their mouth.
Just squirt it in their mouth.
That's what he
That's
you're
told
so
me.
pumping
sick.
out, using those pumps to pump out beer. You're gonna get nothing but head.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, you're just gonna foam it up.
It's not the same as a kegerator, I guess.
No, man, I want one. They're
That's
stupid
unreal.
expensive though.
Yeah, my
I
my mom
know.
just got a new one for my stepdad for his birthday this year. She got a dual tap too.
You know what sucks? One of my biggest frustrations at Bailey Road, we bought a kegerator from the people that were there before us. We didn't pay much. I think we paid them like $75 or something like that. So like, no, that's not that part I'm not mad about. We never got a keg and used the kegerator.
Seems weird for that house because
It
I
was just
felt
a letdown. We never used it. I think it was broken for a little bit or needed a new CO2 tank or something, and we just never did it.
I was catching up with our good buddy Gray one time. I ran into him
Um,
and him and I were just chatting it up one day. And he was like, "Yeah, man, you gotta come over to the frat house I'm in these days. Like we have a keg. It's like we got a kegerator there and stuff. And like we bought it because we thought we could just like, buy a keg and then like charge people like, you know, to show up and drink it. He goes, but turns out we just drink all the beer ourselves, and we're just spending a lot of money on beer.
Right.
Like
That's
even
unreal.
yeah.
Matt, if you ever met Gray, he's in his own world a lot. Like
Yeah, yes.
I I'm trying to think of the
Perpetually
best way to describe
stoned.
him. Yes, that is a fantastic,
Like
fantastic way to describe him.
We all know those types.
Yeah.
like the most functioning stoner you've ever met in your life. Like that
Yes.
type of guy where it's like, hey dude, like let's go fucking smoke a bowl. Like talks like that. Fucking, fucking said fucking a lot.
You did. You did. It's all good. Your
And
New
it,
England came out a little bit.
yeah, but that's what he would say. Like I can't
Mhm.
do the Raleigh Durham
He's
accent.
yeah, he's a good dude. Good
But
dude.
he
But
like he
yeah,
was
he was
like genuinely one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. Like if he set his mind to it, like I'd be leaving the dorm in the morning, and he'd be walking in and be like, "Where are you coming from, Gray?" He's like, "Spent all night doing all my homework for the semester in the library." So
yeah,
just he's
that's
like
the crazy part.
he like because he's like definition of work hard, play hard.
Absolutely.
He's like Monday through Thursday. He's like I'm grinding. He's like I'm on the grind. Soon as Thursday 3 o'clock hits,
So you go. Yeah.
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 That's unreal. I don't think I ever saw him like coming in from the library, but that was it wouldn't surprise me that he just cranks out everything all at once and then just doesn't do anything the rest of the semester.
Yeah, like I don't know if that's like entirely true or not, but like
No,
there
but
were
I
times where he would just grind out like a whole bunch of stuff
I
at
could
once.
absolutely see him doing it. Kind of a just do it so it's done kind of thing. Yep,
Right.
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
I know when I worked at CB, rest in peace CB, we had a brewer that was kind of like that. Um, Great guy, made great beer. But you can stop me if I tell the story. But there was it was like a year and a half before they closed. They had their 20th anniversary kettle sour they were making, and he accidentally taking crashing it and taking it out of the brewing station into the fermenter to have it sit in for the couple of weeks. He accidentally put it in with the double IPA that was already sitting there for a week.
Oh no.
So he realized his mistake the next day. And then he goes up to the boss and tells him what happens. And the boss was like, well, we got to dump this because no one's going to want to drink a sour IPA. And then we pulled it out of the tank and we were like, this actually doesn't taste that bad, but we don't think anyone's going to want this. So we ended up just dumping the entire thing. And then the next summer, sour IPAs were the hit and they were everywhere. And we're like, missed it by that much.
Yeah. You
some
could have been on the front end of the
Yeah,
trend.
we could have been on the front and then TV closed literally like the next summer and it was done. And I was like,
So who knows? Maybe that could have saved them.
no, it couldn't have. That the guy who was running it was very cheap. The reason why I left is because literally they weren't paying people.
That's kind of
that
Like
whack.
their vendors and stuff were not delivering like grain or hops because they were so behind on their bills. And I was like, well, it's
That's
time
a
to leave.
problem. Yeah, that's a
well
Yeah.
problem.
to speaking of that though, a couple of years ago at my office, we had they were like, "Oh, we're changing the coffee beans in the office. We're gonna have my office is 3 floors. Like each floor's coffee station is gonna have a different type of beans in it. And we're gonna have it for like a couple days where you're supposed to go and sample it, and then you turn in your like rankings and stuff of it. Um, turns out it's because so we used to have those Starbucks coffee machines where like it grinds up the beans and does it all for you there.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Um, we got audited because our contract ran up and nobody checked on it and like nobody re-upped it. So we were just using the stuff for free. Um, and then it was like Starbucks was like we like I think one of the machines broke and like someone called Starbucks like the maintenance company or whatever for it, and they're like, "You haven't paid us in a year and a half," and so they had to get all new stuff.
Oh my God. Starbucks
Yeah.
is like, yeah, I mean, really, you're not supposed to have it still, but
Yeah, so it's all new
man,
coffee machines that I don't use because I don't really like coffee.
retweet.
3 guys who don't really like coffee here.
I liked coffee. I drank it for the longest time, and then I got like a bad stomach virus and it threw it up every day for like 2 months.
Ugh.
And then I stopped, and I was like, okay, I don't need this.
Well, I guess Luke can suck on that then because he's the only coffee drinker then.
Yeah,
I like coffee beverages, but not like just black coffee.
I don't
I
like
like
any of it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not about it.
coffee beer is about the most I'll go, but
I
even then I'll notice I'll have to drink that coffee beer at like 2 in the afternoon because since I don't really have caffeine, even that little bit of whatever coffee they put in there, if I do it at like 8 o'clock at night, I'll be up at like 2 in the morning. Like I'm an old 60-year-old. I can't have it past 4 because I'll be up all night.
We were talking about this today at work. A guy I know, he is constantly caffeinated, and he's just like the most normal, like project manager guy out there. And like his joke is like, yeah, it just keeps me like bright and chipper. But like he drinks basically a pot of coffee in the morning before he comes to work, drinks coffee all throughout the day at work, takes caffeine pills too
oh my
if
God.
he needs to
How
focus.
much is he peeing?
I
Because
This
that's
don't.
man's
gotta just go
heart.
He's
straight
also
through.
like
This man's
six. He's
heart.
like 6'6", 6'7". He's a big he's a big tall guy. But and then he makes a pot of coffee and like has like a nice espresso machine when he goes home.
That's nuts. That's insane.
Like
I was gonna say that. I mean, like I like when like stouts, for example, they have like a little coffee note to them. I'm cool with that. That's good with me. But bro, that's insane. That's like
I worry for him. Like
His resting heart rate's 140.
again, he's already like a very tall person, so like lifespan's gonna be shorter anyway.
well, you can tell him that the official PA of the Beer There Drunk That podcast tells him he should cut back on his caffeine.
We've talked about it before.
Nice.
But we should also talk about taking a quick break.
I need
Because
another beer. I don't need more coffee, but I need another beer.
I need another beer, damn it. So we'll be back with more beers. We're back. The cats have been pet.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
And that's
Yeah.
not innuendo. We do have podcast cats on here, so everybody relax a little bit.
Yeah. My cat's being antisocial tonight. He's mad at me because Monday's normally not a podcast night.
Um, Matt, is your cat like enjoys being social or not really?
So this cat plays fetch.
So you have a dog.
Yeah, literally, she'll bring a toy up to you, plop it down in front of you. You'll pick it up, she'll chuck it, she'll run after it, she'll come back, plop it down in front of you, and then yell at you until you throw it again.
So my
Which
buddy's
is
cat does
great.
that, but with only one
It
specific toy.
hers is two. There's only
Okay.
two that she does it with. But it's great except for when she does it at like 4 in the Then you're like, oh come on.
A
Now's
guy
not the time.
a guy I
So,
went to
so
high school with has a cat. I think that would do that with like hair ties. Like he would like shoot hair ties across the room for her. And then she would just show up at 3 in the morning and just be in his face like, hey, do the thing.
Hey, yeah.
so it sounds like you need to teach her how to get you a beer then.
I would, except I don't trust her to open the fridge.
As soon as you teach her how to do that, it's a mess afterwards, or
Yeah. She'll just find the like half tin of soft food that we keep in there for when we
Hmm.
feed them in the afternoon. Just probably go to town, and then leave the fridge open, and then just
of
ruin everything
course,
in there.
like an animal, like she was raised in a barn.
Yeah, yeah. Picked her up off the street.
It's my mom's cat. Literally, she found it in their barn and just kept it.
There you go.
This one was literally found on the street.
Yeah. My cat Gandalf was given up because he peed on the floor. And then when I was like looking into adopting him, I called my stepmom, who's a veterinarian, and I explained the situation, which was he lived in a house with like three other cats, and they only had one litter box, and he wasn't neutered. And my stepmom goes, "Yeah, no shit,
I'll
he was
do it.
pissing on the floor." Like,
Yeah.
like she's like, "I would too."
I do currently.
Yeah, we gotta get that checked.
You gotta establish dominance somehow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because
And
whenever I get a dog, I want to make sure they come in and first thing they smell is just my piss on the
yeah.
floor. Um, the
Oh,
beers that I had this week. Yeah, go for
can
it.
I say something before we move on? This has
Absolutely.
been eating away at me for a while now. Is when Keegan did his 999 challenge, I want to say everyone's reactions was very mundane. The amount of meat this man put in his mouth in a short period of time deserves more pomp and circumstance than what you gave him.
Matt, I
We had
appreciate
already
you saying that, and that makes me feel really good because I was in, I'll say, intestinal agony for several days following.
we had already reacted to that like offline too. Like I'm not an actor. Like I'm genuinely impressed because I think the hot dogs is the hardest part of that by any means. It's the
Yeah.
hot dogs and not getting up to piss every inning.
Right. And
Because
I will say shortly after that episode, I literally bought hot dogs for the summer. And I was like, one day I was like real hungry at lunch and I made three and I downed three pretty quickly. And I was like, oh, this is that hard.
but did you eat them
I'm
with
gonna make,
buns?
I did. They did
Okay.
have buns. I'm not a savage. And then I got to four and I was like, I haven't had a beer yet and I'm already kind of full. And then I got to five and I was like, man, this is the most impressive thing I have ever witnessed. Well, not witnessed, ever heard about. How did this man do this?
Well, we went to Dollar Dog Night at the Brewers game a couple years ago. My friend Sam that I grew up with came out and visited. He doesn't drink, but he likes hot dogs. And he like we went up for Dollar Dog and he's like, "Can I get 8?" And he's like, "How many do you want?" And I'm like, "I guess 3." And so he ate 8 hot dogs or 7 hot dogs that day, something like that. Um, and then this summer it was like 4th of July, and he just like we were playing video games like the next day, and he's like, "Yeah, I had like 22 hot dogs yesterday." And I
Oh
was
my
like, and
God.
I'm like,
Excuse me?
I'm like, why? And he's like, well, I worked out really hard, and then like I hadn't eaten anything, and that was just my one meal for the day, and so I just cooked some hot dogs and ate them. He's like, now I don't think
Some,
I could eat hot dogs ever again.
hold on. If you were cooking some hot dogs, I think 3 hot dogs is a good number for some hot dogs.
Right.
If you are cooking 22 hot dogs with the intention to eat 22 hot dogs, you made a decision that day. Like that was not an accident. You don't accidentally eat
Oh,
22 hot
it
dogs.
wasn't an accident. 24, sorry. I just texted him. I just said,
Oh
how many
my
hot dogs
Did
did
he
you eat
just
this
God,
summer?
did he
dude.
just go to like Costco or BJ and get like the ballpark 24 pack and was like, this is my afternoon?
He does typically buy in bulk, yes. But I've seen him
Okay.
like he's he's a he's a power lifter. Like he's
Yeah.
got like New Hampshire state records for his weight class. He's one of those like small guys who can pack a lot of food away, like if he's hungry. Like we would go to Taco Tuesday where it was $2 tacos in the summers from
And
college.
he'd spend $100.
Yeah, no, he would be like, can I do 5 beef and 5 chicken? And each of us are ordering like, he's ordering 10 or 12, and we're ordering 6 at most.
Damn.
Yeah,
I mean, it sounds like he could probably delete the challenge easily then. But
it doesn't drink, so I think that would be the hardest
okay.
part.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
honestly, it was the hot dogs. It was the
I
specifically the
honestly
buns. Specifically the buns.
I think the beer for me would be the hardest because if it's just like what I'm having now, which is the Resurgence Circle the Wagons Bills themed American Pilsner, after like three, I just feel so bloated. I guess
So
with the food too, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I've
just
told
the
you.
amount of gas.
Do you know this, Matt, about one of my fantasy football leagues where we do basically a case race every year to determine draft
Yes.
order? So
That's
hmm
so
I
sick.
think next
I
year
do listen to the podcast.
well, I can't. Yeah, my thing is, I think I was texting my buddy who's the commissioner the other day, or like the other day, like after we, like him and I both on it. I think next year I'm gonna try doing Guinness because I think I can delete nitro beers.
That sounds
Ooh.
bold as hell.
Right?
Well,
But
Like a
it,
12 pack?
I have a, no, I have a feeling though, if it's like a lighter porter, like kind of like Guinness's, it's not like super rich, heavy. I think there might be something there.
I think I could do that sub 2 hours, like if I'm not doing anything. It's the
Johnny, when you
carbonation that
hold on.
The
when you
carbonation
do
that
it,
does it.
it's when you do that, let me know. I want to schedule on a day and I want to try it with you.
I'm gonna do an we'll do an Instagram live together.
Yes, I'll just us downing Guinness for 2 hours till they're gone. Ooh,
Bless
Yeah, we're
you.
just gonna sneeze.
thank you.
Hmm.
Um, that
That's my
12 Guinness
theory.
sounds like a lot of beer still, but I don't. I'm gonna say I don't disagree that I feel like because it's silky smooth, like you delete it and you're like, oh, that was one. Okay, we're rolling.
Yeah, like I'm drinking a Guinness right now. My stomach's been a little weird the past couple days. Need something to
A
cure
Guinness
me.
settles the stomach.
It
Absolutely.
does. And so that's why I'm like I'm drinking it right now and like it's definitely heavier than like a light lager like I did this year. But it's not there's no
Uncarbonated.
carbonation to it. And
I
I
think
think
there
that's the
is.
hardest part.
I think there's
Like
definitely some validity to that. I like that.
I was, I think for me, at least, I think something that would help me with that, it's what I do for myself to drink more water throughout the day, is I'll just squirt lemon juice into it so that when I'm drinking it, it dries my mouth out. So I'm always like, I'm thirsty again. So that way I drink a
mm,
lot more water throughout the day. I wonder if I can get
water
like a
flavored beer.
lemon like no, not like but like a lemon like pilsner or something that gets like a little tart that can just
Well,
make my
Porch
mouth
Rocker,
dry out. Yeah,
But I
just
just
dry my mouth out
I
to
think
just
you're
but
keep
gonna
constantly
get an
drinking.
ulcer from that though, with the amount of like
I have them
lemon.
already. What's for another one?
One more, no corn.
Yeah.
well, Donnie, I do think I think I could drink an infinite amount of Guinness, and so that's going to be my segue into my second beer because it's called Infinite Machine.
I thought you were gonna say it's called Infinite Guinness.
Infinite Guinness. No, that'd be kind of sick. I just honestly picked it out because of the can because I thought it was sick. Um, but it's by Kings County Brewers Collective, who I've had before. I had their sour that I did not love. This was a lot better. This is a 4.8% Pilsner. With some, they say from some Sapphire. There's no E on that. And Styron Celia hops.
I think it is pronounced sapphire hops, but
Sapphire hops. That's what I
I think
figured.
it
There's no
is.
E though. I don't know. But it was pretty good. I gave it also a 3.7 on Untapped. I thought this was kind of like a I'll say a Pilsner's Pilsner. So I think you'd enjoy this beer, Donnie. Um I think it's definitely up your alley. What else did I say? I mean, there's definitely some carbonation to it, as you'd expect. Um, but there was actually a little more sweetness than I expected originally. Like, not that your pilsners are gonna come out and be bitter, but it doesn't like explicitly list any sweetness, any like whatever fruitiness to it. And I got some like general sweetness, so I thought it was pretty
Okay.
good. I think it's
Nice.
definitely a this is a
It'll be the
Moorish beer.
grain.
Yeah, it's got
Yeah,
to
it
be
definitely
Sometimes
whatever
has.
you get
grains.
your malt will be your sweetener.
So yeah, I mean, I would drink it again. It's a Moorish beer. I very crushable.
Love to hear that, you
It
know.
sounds like it could make a if it weren't as expensive as it was, could be a tailgate beer for sure.
That's always the hard part, man. It's like you find some good beers, but it's like, wow, I'm paying a lot of money just to crush these.
I can pay $16 for a 4 pack of these, or I can pay in Rochester $17 for a 30 pack of Jenny Light. Yeah,
It's hard, man.
yeah,
No, I like to hear that, you know. I
but
like
it
the
was a good
can
day.
art. I think that's a
I
good
do.
pick in artwork.
I think you'd enjoy it.
Okay.
I'll save one for you. I got a 4 pack, so
All right.
I'll
Age
get
it
one
for
for
me.
you. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, if we're gonna snake this thing, my first beer I gave a 4 out of 5. Very, very good. Um, beer. Loved
Great
it.
beer.
Crushable. It was great beer. I love it. Says a lot of nice things about me. Anyway, my second beer I kind of hinted at last week actually when I talked about having Lakefront's pumpkin beer.
Mm.
I got their pumpkin imperial ale this week, which is
Ooh.
Mm.
aged in, ale with pumpkin, pumpkin pie spice, and vanilla aged in brandy barrels.
Ooh.
For a barrel aged beer, though, this is only like 9.5%. So it's definitely I wouldn't call it a Moorish beer, but it's Moorish than more than a lot of barrel aged beers. It still looked like a beer
Hmm.
when you poured it. Very strong pumpkin flavor. I did like Luke does, where I left like a little bit of out and a brandy snifter I have, and like let it get up to room temperature, which is really, really nice. That really brought out the spice flavor to it. And it was nice because it had a good vanilla background, like almost like a vanilla bean to like round it out. Um, the first like sniff I had, I was like, oh, this doesn't really smell like brandy. And then I brought it up to my nose as I was drinking it, and I was like, oh, that smells like aged wine.
You're like,
Um,
yeah, yep, there it is.
yeah, the brandy flavor as a whole, though, was relatively mild compared to the beer. I think it had a lot of strong flavors to balance it out. Um, Again, I drank one of those and I'm not sauced, so like feels pretty good for a barrel aged beer, in my opinion. Would recommend. Gave this a 3.25 out of 5. I think it's
Very
a nice
solid.
little fall sipper.
I like that.
Oh, I do love a fall sipper.
Like it's
Dude,
just
I
not.
actually, sorry, God.
I was gonna say it's just nice to like pour something and just kind of like work on it throughout the night.
Especially when it's like nice out and it's actually, like those low 60s kind of starting to be in the evening and you
Yeah,
might throw on a long sleeve. That sounds nice.
that's
I
one
did, sorry, God.
that's one thing I big sour fan. Love the summer beers. My biggest complaint about them though is you have to down them within a half an hour or they're not good anymore. That's why I love fall beers. That's my second favorite season because you get those nice rich malty ones. You can let them sit for maybe an hour and a half. You can just sip on them. They're great. And that's why when the wife and I went grocery shopping, she was like, "Oh, we're out of beer in the fridge. We need to get some more." I was like, "Sweet, Saranac Fall Pack. Here we go." And she's like,
Wait,
"I don't like any of these." I'm like, "Well, you can get something else then. It's fine. This is for me now."
it's the I'm tired of this, Grandpa. Well, that's
Yeah.
too damn bad.
I
What's in the Saranac fall pack? Because I
was
haven't
just
seen it.
pulling that up.
So it's the honey pills.
Oh,
It's the Black Forest cake dark lager.
okay.
It's the pumpkin ale, and it is the it's the Oktoberfest.
Oh, I'm
It's a
gonna have
good
to see
variety.
if I can get my
It's a
hands on
great
that.
variety.
You had me
It's
at the honey
great.
pills, honestly.
It's great when you and your boys go out to throw 18 holes of disc golf, and your disc golf bag bottom section can hold 18 beers in it, like mine does. And it has a liner so you can put ice in it. And so I go out and just have a 40-pound bag I'm carrying my back, and we just drink the 12 pack as we go.
I don't have that in my bag. I just pull out some discs and make my own little cooler in the corner there.
Johnny
That's
sacrifices the game for the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love my wife. She got me for that, I think last Christmas or two Christmases ago, and it's a game changer
I
for
didn't
sure.
throw it all this summer. Like
I
I haven't had time
I've
to.
I've went every week since the beginning of May.
I used to live right by a nice free little disc golf park. I used to love going there. Um, but that's awesome. I've mostly had Saranac sodas. I've had a couple of their beers throughout time.
Hmm.
Um, like Saranac to me reminds me of Sprecher Brewing out here.
Yeah.
Brewing.
Oh, I love Sprecher.
So that started as a beer brewery, and they're now like 97% of their business is root beer.
You're right.
Really?
They're like they call themselves the
Yeah.
root beer capital of the universe. It's really, really cool there because they were like, yeah, this guy was making beer and he's like making traditional beers. And his wife was like, well, what if like families want to bring their kids? Like, you got to make a soda. He's like, ah, fine, I'll make root beer. And
Yeah.
then it's
I
now
had a
their biggest breadwinner by far.
yeah, I had a friend in high school whose family was from Wisconsin, and every summer they would go out, and when they would come back, they would literally have like four different cases of Sprecher soda they would bring back. And that was like the best soda I've ever had. The only thing that I feel that rivals Sprecher's root beer is Tom Wall's. It's a close
Okay.
second.
Oh,
Tom
Tom Hall's
Walls.
root beer, if you get it on tap at the restaurant, is so good. Not as good as Sprecker's though, even if it's in the bottle. I always miss it. I don't hang out with him anymore, unfortunately, and I don't get that sweet Sprecker's hookup. But
Well, you'll come out here, Matt. We'll do the Sprecher tour, which you get a wristband that
ooh,
has like four little beer tickets on it. But with the wristband, you can get unlimited soda.
ooh,
It's
Matt's gonna have to be rolled out of there in a wheelbarrow. He's
gonna
gonna
be
be
on
in
a
a
sugar
coma.
high.
I'm gonna be so bloated, but it'll be worth it.
Sophie said that's like peak childhood is you're there on the Sprecher tour and you can just drink as much soda as you want and you're drinking a 16-ounce bottle of root beer and you feel like you're
Yeah.
drunk.
Okay, so root beer opinion, ice or no ice in your root beer?
I don't really drink root beer. The
Same. I don't
honestly,
really like root
Oh,
so let
beer.
me tell you this. Let me tell you this.
this
The
podcast is
most
wasted on my brilliance.
the most root beer that I've had was drinking not your father's root beer,
Yeah.
and I had maybe three of them, and that was the most exposure I've had to root beer. I don't drink it,
We would
Uh,
joke and say we were
but
going to
that
show
was
up to
solid.
class with beers in college and then get Saranac root beers and drink them in class and say we're drinking beers.
I
so
mean,
another CB story from when I worked there. We were contracted to make root beer for some like restaurant or something, and the way I was taught to know how the carbonation level was right in the root beer is when you were carving it, you would pour it out from the bright you were carving from. And if you couldn't chug the glass that you were drinking, that's when it was done.
Ugh,
that's
that's
wild.
So I would be having like 4 or 5 glasses of root beer at like 9 in the morning, just so that way I knew it was good.
wow. No, the Sprecher Cherry Cola is one of my favorites. That's
Yes.
that's
Yep.
but
Hmm.
so for you may not know this, Keegan. So Sprecher, their whole thing is it's sweetened with honey too.
Oh,
They
okay.
use they use local Wisconsin bees. But if you know anything about Wisconsin, it gets cold here in the winter and bees can't do their thing.
It
So they
does.
ship their bees to Florida for the
What? The
yes.
bees are snowbirds?
The bees go down south for the winter.
Just
Oh
they gotta start hooking up
God,
with some geese or something. Save on
the
airfare and just
bees
have like
live
geese
better than
lug
I
them.
do.
Yes. But that's why they're like, oh yeah, you might get like an orange character if you drink any of our sodas that are like more in like made from the honey and
That's
but it's
wild.
crazy and you go and you see the giant tankards full of honey in the tour there and you're like, holy crap, that thing's got to take forever to empty.
That's nuts. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. Not as cool as Matt's beer though.
Yeah. So my second beer that I had for this podcast was Talking Cursives. They're out of Syracuse, New York. They're women and veteran owned. So that was a nice little touch on the can I saw. I had their rhubarb raspberry pastry sour.
Ooh.
And
Oh,
yeah, so my favorite pie on this earth is rhubarb pie. I love rhubarb pie. So I saw that and I was like, sweet. Yes, sign me up. Um, it was very powerful rhubarb right off the bat. It had that very rhubarb characteristic was when you were drinking it, immediate moisture gone from your mouth.
Yo, it's all sour.
Yeah, it just is gone. Your just mouth is like dry. But then it switched from that to like a raspberry cinnamon jam flavor,
oh,
so that it dried your mouth out and then it got sweet. And I thought that was very nice. Um, there was definitely like a little spice characteristic, like how you would in a normal rhubarb pie. And then at the very end, as it was fading away, you got the buttery, flaky crust of a pie.
Oh,
So it just
baked
it
in
just
a
moved through all the
buttery,
notes.
crispy crust.
buttery
Yeah.
bacon pop.
It was very nice. It went through all its notes. I would say um, it was a great early fall beer, even though I think rhubarb is June or something when it comes out.
It's early
But
in the year.
yeah, but it had that like you had the fall characters of like cinnamon and um It was also, I remember the last time I was on, I had that pineapple cinnamon beer where the beer was cold, but it felt warm, like it had the warm mouthfeel to it. Same thing with this. It must be the spices they put into it had the same characteristics where my mouth, it was like a nice warming feeling to yourself. Um, the wife enjoyed it as well, and then she's like, "I've never had rhubarb pie. I know it's your favorite. I don't know why I haven't had it yet." And I was like, "Well, because I don't make it. Because normally I would make it. We had a rhubarb patch at my parents' house. I
Hmm.
would just pick all the rhubarb, and we just have a ton of it, and I'd make rhubarb pie. So, I did this one 4.25. I like the first one better. This one was a little more on the tart, not a sweet, drier side, but I would definitely come back to it. Definitely one I can have by myself, the full can. But
I love
very
rhubarb
good.
as well. I think rhubarb is one of those flavors like people like you and I who like it really like it. And then I feel like
Hmm.
everyone else is either like, I don't care for it, or I've never had it.
My grandma makes a really good strawberry rhubarb pie, but I can't confirm that it's good or not because I've never eaten it.
Why? Is it
Well,
the
So
grandma?
made it.
Is it the
I
grandma
am
I've met?
on. Yeah, you would have met my grandma. Yeah. Oh, actually,
Yeah.
no, that was Nanny. No, you met Nanny. She doesn't make
Sorry, I met
pies.
Nanny when I ripped my pants at Easter and sat next to her for brunch.
Oh no, that was grandma. That was
That was
grandma.
grandma?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, yep.
No,
No, grandma
I
makes
did
a
meet
really
Nanny
good.
too. Yeah.
Yes, but grandma makes a really good apple pie. So I always go by her apple pie. And I've just never had her strawberry rhubarb. So I fit into the category of people that have never actually tasted rhubarb.
It looks sweet and it tastes tart.
The question I
It
guess I
looks
have
like
for you, Matt,
celery.
Yeah, it looks like celery. It's like red celery.
Yeah.
it sounds off-putting,
I
but
have I made strawberry rhubarb mead. But I have that aging in bottles right now. But I'm really excited to crack that open in like a month or two.
'cause I feel like maybe that's a format I should try it in is like beer or mead. That
I
might be a
almost
good
bought
place to
mead.
start.
I almost bought mead for this, but I was like, that's not beer.
It's closer to wine, yeah.
I
Yeah. But
have
then I was
some.
also like, how much is this bottle? Like 375 milliliter bottle? Oh, it's $22.
Well, like we'll go to a meadery. There's a meadery in East Troy, Wisconsin. It's called the Hive. And like they serve it to you in like little tasting glasses like it's beer, but it's, 12% alcohol.
Hmm.
And then it's made of just pure sugar. And so you're like, yeah, this tastes great. I'll drink all of these myself. But no, they had some cool flavors. They had like a peach and white tea one that I really liked.
There was one
That
that
sounds
was out by
interesting.
us that closed, and they had a peanut butter and jelly mead that was
See that
very good.
that sounds really intriguing. And I think it's a honey mead or something like that. I don't know. I have a mead that I
Well,
had
mead
from.
is honey.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought when I was saying it, but it's like there's some flavor to it, and I can't
Wine is
remember what it
grapes,
is.
mead is honey,
I
beer is
want to go
grain.
out to Michigan to bee nectar.
Yeah. There's one too. I can't remember what it's called. There's one when I drive from Milwaukee to Chicago. I drive past Great Wolf Lodge and Six Flags Great America. Right across from both of those is a really famous meadery. I can't remember what the name of it is though.
Mm. I got mine in Ireland, so I haven't cracked it yet, but I need to at some point. But I'm a little scared too. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
I really want to do like a Michigan trip just for like Western Michigan because bee nectar's out there, New
Bells.
Holland's out there, Bell's is out there. They have a great like that west coast of Michigan has some great stuff. I'm just like, I need to get out there.
Take the ferry across
But
the lake. I'll hang out with you.
yeah, I gotta just go through Canada and come across.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Like I can take there's the ferry that goes from like Milwaukee to like Muskegon, which is just north of Grand Rapids. Um,
Hmm.
and it basically takes the exact same amount of time as just driving around the lake, but it's more expensive because you have to pay like $150 to take your car over there.
Yeah, I mean, oh, I've always wondered too. I know we've talked about it before on here, but like, Donnie, when is the Civil War for that little piece of Michigan?
The Upper Peninsula.
Yeah, when is the war for that? Because like I kind of want to grab a front row seat for it.
I I don't think they care, honestly.
I did see a suggestion that the Packers and the Lions should just play for it, and that's the trophy. So those residents just flip back and forth every year depending on who wins.
Well, so here's the thing. I know plenty of people who like have like cabins and stuff up there. Um, and it's because, but they like that it's Michigan because they can drive over the border and grab marijuana legally. Because it's not legal in Wisconsin, but it is in
Oh,
Michigan.
okay.
Um,
I mean, that's fair. That's fair enough.
that's just what I've heard. But I don't know, like it's just kind of its own thing. Like I don't think anyone cares that much.
I'm just so surprised people still live up there, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean that's
Sorry to our Upper Peninsula listeners.
I don't
I'm
know if
gonna
we
say
spread that far, yes,
I'm
yet,
from
but
northern New Hampshire, which isn't that far south of it, like in the grand scheme of things. So
yeah. Well, so I don't know if you guys had any more
Anecdotes. I kind
more.
of want to talk to Noah for at least a little bit about home brewing because I know he's ventured into that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
And I know,
I made three beers and a
mhm,
mead. So I made an American wheat ale, like just generic, tastes a little bit like bananas. I
mhm.
made a Belgian blonde with rose hips and rose petals. That was the best one. It was very light and summery and like
I love Belgians. I wish like around me in this Rochester area had a place that specialized in Belgians because we don't.
there's
Everything's just
usually
like,
one in every city though, like that just
but we don't have one. And
which is
I
crazy.
I know you would think we would by this point.
That's the place down the street from me specializes in beers like that. Um, and then I made a duplicate of Elvis juice from Brewdog, which is their grapefruit IPA.
Mm,
Very bitter, but like it's an IPA, it's pretty good. Um, and then I made the mead. I like it. I've been making small batches. I'd like to scale up eventually.
yeah, can I ask what your setup is? Like, what do you have?
I have a 1 gallon siphonless fermenter,
Okay,
and a 20 quart stock pot.
And it sits in the
okay.
poop closet.
Sits in the
Isn't
closet. There's no poop in the closet anymore. Gandalf has his own thing that he poops in. But
Okay,
no,
all right,
I
all
let
right.
it
so
ferment in
you
the closet behind me.
you don't haven't like upgraded to like having like a copper coil that you can run cold water through to put your beer
Um,
down and crash it faster or
no,
um
I got a sink full of ice. Um,
oh you still have a sink full of like I
sink full
would
of ice and
highly
an aluminum stock
suggest
pot.
getting that if you look it up basically anywhere. There's like the it's basically like a hose attachment that you can attach to your faucet on your sink, and it runs through copper coils, and then you just sanitize that and dunk it in your wort, and it
Well,
cools it down in like 10 minutes. It's so much better.
so I assume you're familiar with Northern Brewer.
Yes.
So
Yep.
they used to have like a lot of physical stores everywhere.
Hmm.
There used to be one in Milwaukee, closed down with all like when they shrank back to just being basically online only. But the people who own that just opened another home brewing shop in the same area. So
Right.
that's where I go and buy stuff. And they have all the equipment like that. I bought hydrometers and stuff there. Like
Yeah.
they're
I know
very
that
like they've got the full grain room, they've got the full hop fridge. So it's something I
the
want to do
first
more of in the future.
the first homebrew I did and also found out I don't enjoy the style was a red ale. And every time I had it, I'm like, this just tastes off. Why does this doesn't just taste good? And my family was like, no, this is pretty good. This is great. And I'm like, I think it tastes weird. So I did like two or three batches and they all tasted the same. And I was like, I don't like this. I think I'm screwing something up somewhere along the point. My whole entire family was like, no, this is pretty great. And then it was like, and then I had like other red ales out in the wild. And I was like, oh, I just don't like these. These just don't taste
Luke
good.
made you drink Killian Sydney.
No, Luke, we went to Tracy B's, a great establishment, nothing wrong with it, but I did have the red ale, and I was like, oh, yep, I still don't like these.
It's a weird type of beer though. Like it's one of those I think you like it or you don't.
Yeah. And then
No,
Luke was like, okay, I'll take the rest of it, and then he dumped it in the black eye rye, and I was like, you are a monster. How dare you?
he's a mixologist.
I'm like,
That
what
he
is wrong
is.
with?
That
No,
I
he
just
I
looked at
is.
him and was like, I can't believe you've done this. What is wrong?
yeah, I'd like to get like a 5 gallon fermenter eventually. Just my siphonless fermenter, the thing I don't like about it is I just get a lot of spent yeast when I go through, and
Yeah.
it's just like I'd like to clarify it up more because it's not that it's bad, it's just that like spent yeast can kind of do a number on your gut eventually if you drink too much of it.
hmm
And it's the
I
same
always
thing.
found,
Like I
I
need
always
like
found at least
dry
for
hop bags too.
I always found for me the toughest part for me was getting a constant temperature when you were in like the 2 week waiting stage of letting it ferment.
Well, and that's why I leave it in
Because
my closet because it's like the most
right,
constant like state because I don't fluctuate temperature that much in the house. And then it's back there and there's no vents that like point directly at it.
yeah, at least for me, my toughest part was I wasn't in like a central air house. There was no air conditioning.
Okay, so I have
So
central air, which is nice.
the temperature would fluctuate like throughout the day. And at least for me, like the most I could do was try to stick it in a dark corner of the basement.
My basement's
Because I
scary
felt,
and gross. I don't want to put stuff down there.
It stays
oh,
out
it's
of
got
there.
spiders.
There's a lot of cobwebs in the basement, man.
Yeah, that's a basement.
Um, but yeah, no, I'm excited. I'll keep you updated, Matt.
All
Uh,
right, yeah.
but I'd like to update the crew that I think next week we're gonna do fest beers, Oktoberfest beers,
Oh
Märzen's
yeah.
fest beers, because it's getting to be that time of year and we gotta pay homage to what
hmm
what beer has become.
I'm coming in hot with my boot. I have a
Oh,
boot that I drink
Nice.
out of my apartment. Yep, I
I
have a
have
boot and I have a Stein. So I'll flip between the two.
Nice, nice, nice.
do you have a question, Keegan?
I
I
did.
have a question. Oh,
Well, no. Listen,
Yeah,
I
do
back
think
we
to
I
have a
might
back
have
guest
asked this
question,
question
Matt?
celebrity
before.
questions.
Matt, please ask your question.
Okay, perfect. So last time I was on here, it was beer related. It's gonna be the same thing, but with a little twist of what it's again, what beer is best, but the category is the money, power, or fame beer. So I'm gonna put it in this way. What beer is best? The money beer. You win a bet with your friend, they buy you your beer. So it's basically a free beer for yourself, but you got it for free. The power beer, you're at your friend's house. They go, hey, can you man the grill? I'll give you some beer. So you have that nice power trip of like, oh, I am the best cook here. You trust me. Or is it the fame beer? You go to your typical watering hole. The bartender sees you and goes, hey, this one's on us.
Ooh,
Which one of those three is best?
I like that question a lot. That's a lot better than the question I had. So
Yeah,
I
you've been
really
slacking.
I had no. That's the thing is I feel like a lot of my big controversial questions I kind of I started off the rip with them, which really handicapped me a little bit. But I like that.
Well,
I like that a lot, and I can't wait to bring in some fast beers next week.
no, I'm excited. Thank you for being here, Matt. Thanks for filling in.
Mm,
We appreciate
Um,
not a
you
problem.
accepting the call up.
yeah.
Yeah, up from the minors.